What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharp, and welcome to this live edition of TSR. As always, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Donovan_Sharp. You guys can find the archive of all episodes of TSR on donovansharp.com, iTunes, YouTube, as well as SoundCloud. Be sure to check out donovansharp.com. We've made a few changes, so it's easier to navigate. Works better. It works a lot better on mobile devices, and everything is at your fingertips. Like all of the most important links are right there at the top of the page. We've got a few at the bottom, and we've made a few other changes to make your experience a little more enjoyable. So make sure you head on over there to check out our new look website there at donovansharp.com. Okay, let's get to it. The day was that O.J. Simpson was granted parole by the state of Nevada Parole Board. It was unanimous. It was 4-0 that they decided to go ahead and grant O.J. Simpson parole. So, as usual, the interesting thing to note here is that, listen, almost 9 years in the joint, O.J. still hasn't. It appeared that he still doesn't. He hasn't lost his ability to charm the room. Okay, the long and the short of the proceedings, for those of you who didn't see it, is that OJ's the same guy. Okay, he's still entitled. You heard stories from prisoners. One guy said the first day OJ cut in chow line, and he was confronted about it, but OJ was pretty much treated like a king there, and no one physically accosted him because of this. People wanted to be around him. They asked him about fantasy football. So in or out of prison, OJ was a celebrity, and it showed. He's still got that celebrity persona. It's been like that since he was 19 years old. At the parole board hearing, he didn't do well at all, guys. He joked about his infidelity. He said that he's lived a life free of conflict, which we all know to be patently false. He bragged that he was used to all of the fame and the media attention when they asked him about how he's going to handle the negative attention. In a letter that he wrote that was read during the proceedings, he mentioned that he wanted to start a blog and all this other stuff. I mean, he's the same dude he's the same dude today as he is when he went in back in 2008. The icing on the cake here, guys, is that Simpson never actually apologized for the crime. Now, we'll get to that later, but he apologized for everything but what he was sent there for. Yeah, he said things like, I made a bad decision. I'm sorry it happened. I regret the circumstances, etc. As a matter of fact, he even got defiant when one of the parole board members asked if he believed that was his property. Simpson got indignant, and he was shaking his head side to side. Well, the state of California said it was mine, so it was mine. It's almost like he felt like he was being challenged. So Simpson clearly hasn't lost this entitlement that he has as a result of his celebrity. That said, guys, he should have gotten parole today. Okay, he should never have been in prison that long in the first place. Armed robbery for a person, and I'm not a lawyer, but typically armed robbery for a person with a clean criminal background, it's 2 to 5 years max. Okay, I'm not a lawyer, but it was obvious that he got railroaded back in 08. The judge clearly over-sentenced him, and she did it based on the fact that we all believe that he got away with murder, which he did. She even told on herself, and there's no way to prove that she did this, but she told on herself by sentencing him to 9 to 33 years. Well, the poetic thing about this that all sort of clued us in, other than the fact that he was getting a long sentence for the first crime he'd ever been convicted of, is that she made the max 33 years, which happened to be the civil judgment in the case for him being responsible. In the civil case, he was, I think they ordered him to pay $33 million to the family. So, of course, the judge sentenced him to 33 years. Typical fucking woman. She wants to put that little nugget in there just to let everyone know, yeah, I'm fucking O.J. Simpson in the ass. Again, there's no way to prove it, but this is clearly what she did. If you asked anybody out there, a lawyer, judge, DA, they would say clearly this judge sentenced him on the fact that she believes, and everybody believed, that he got away with double murder back in 94. Of course, they were going to grant him parole, guys. He'd served almost a decade for a crime that most people with his criminal record, which by the way was zero, normally get probation for at best and a light sentence at the very worst. But again, the world believed that he got away. The world believed that he got what he deserved because of the double murder in '94. People out there are still mad at OJ because of that trial. They say the justice system failed. Now, I'm not here to debate whether or not it did, but at the end of the day, he was found not guilty, and that's that. You can say whatever you want. Listen, man, people say, well, this just proves that money, the justice system is rigged for people with money. Listen, I mean, welcome to the real world, guys. Like, you're just now figuring that out or acknowledging that out loud. We all know he did it, all right? And even black people who said they didn't think he did it knows he did the murders. They know he did it. And let's be real here, guys. It's a racial thing. Those of us who are around when the verdict came down, you can YouTube the videos on this, we all saw the reactions. The black people celebrated while the white people were in shock that he was acquitted. But here's the thing, guys. Blacks didn't celebrate that he got away with murder. All right. It's not that they weren't happy that Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman were dead. They weren't happy that Simpson got away with murder. They celebrated because black people had been getting shit on for decades, especially out there in LA. And finally, an African American was acquitted of a crime. Okay, they felt that the justice system finally worked for a black person. So anybody who feels resentful towards black people for being happy that Simpson got off, you have to understand they are not happy that Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman are dead. All right. As a matter of fact, that's probably the last things on their mind. You could see during the celebrations that they were very happy. But listen, let's not get lost in translation here. 2 people were dead, and the alleged killer was not convicted, and another one hasn't been indicted for those double murders. So we all know OJ did it, but you can't blame black people for celebrating. For celebrating this stuff. And for the record, okay, now I've defended black people. For the record, anyone who actually says out loud that they don't think that OJ did it, they're all black. All right. I've never heard a white person tell me, well, I don't think Simpson did it, and here's why. No, opinions were right down racial lines. There was nothing more racially divisive that happened in the 20th century than the OJ Simpson murder trial. By the same token, we can't get mad at white people for their disbelief any more than they can get mad at black people when the 4 cops were acquitted in the Rodney King beating. It goes both ways. You identify with people you have the most in common with. All of that said, and I'll say it again, OJ should never have served the time he was given. The judge was clearly punishing him for getting away with murder, and legally that is the wrong thing to do. People think, well, morally, he should have stayed in there. Well, you know what? Leave your morals at the door. You can think whatever you want about O.J. Simpson. He should not have served that time. He didn't. And listen, the people that came for, one of the guys who was actually robbed actually looked at O.J. I mean, he forgave me, said in juice, if and when you get out of here, I'll be here to pick you up. So clearly he's been forgiven. No, that doesn't have any legal consequences. But the fact of the matter is, guys, is he didn't have a gun. He didn't point a gun at anybody. He didn't hit anyone. He didn't put his hands on anyone. All he did, I mean, he went in there and started yelling. We've all heard the tapes. But the fact that he said, don't let anybody leave, that's what made him guilty of, quote, kidnapping, as defined by law, which we all know is a far cry from the actual act of kidnapping. They use that don't let anybody hear to basically just tack on a laundry list of crimes to convict him of so that they could send him to prison again for getting away with murder. And I know that there are some people out there who are saying, well, according to the law, he technically committed kidnapping and blah, 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 the letter of the law, blah, blah, blah. Well, those same people are pissed off because he got paroled. Well, what I say to those people is the parole board clearly made their decision based on the letter of the law, and those people are still pissed. You can't have it both ways. You can't convict somebody by the letter of the law and then bitch and complain that he got out because the parole board use the letter of the law. They followed all the rules. Listen, if they were using their emotion to decide on whether or not he gets parole, they would have done exactly the same thing as the judge did almost 9 years ago. They'd have told him, "Fuck you, OJ, you're sitting in prison." All right. And listen, believe me, that I'm sure that this was on their minds. I think either 2 or 3 of the 4, I think 2 of the 4 parole board members were women. And we all know that women are governed by their emotions. But they did the right thing by granting him parole based on the rules. He was a model prisoner. He didn't cause any trouble. I mean, he was the model prisoner. And they gave him, they ruled 4-0 in his favor, and they should have. Bottom line here, guys, is sometimes people get away with shit. It's not fair. It's not right, but that's how it is. Say what you want about O.J. Simpson, but to me, it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to be granted parole because the Nevada, again, it was clear that the Nevada Parole Board finally acknowledged that Simpson shouldn't have been in prison for that length of time based on the crime that he was convicted of. They probably all got together and said, "Guys, we have to let him out. This guy served nearly a decade for armed robbery, which people who normally don't have a criminal record get convicted of. They don't even get this kind of time." They made the right decision. So if people are still mad, stay mad, all right? Look, man, you got your 9 years. You got your, quote, karma, all right? You got your 9 years, guys. You got your revenge. You got your karma, whatever it is. He served his, he got his just desserts. He got what was coming to him, albeit the wrong way. Listen, if you're looking for some sort of vindication, if you want Simpson to be in jail for the rest of his life, that's not going to, well, at this point, based on the crimes that he has been acquitted of and convicted of, that's not going to happen. Double jeopardy laws apply in this country for whatever reason. He's not going to serve any more time for the Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman's murders. That's all you're going to get. And it's time for people to accept that and move on with life.